Welcome back to the single player world. I'm already derping up, falling in the holes over here, but you know what? Let's just walk on the pavement. That's probably what we get for walking in the street. First of all, guys, welcome back to the single player world. Of course, we've got a lot of stuff happening here. There's some things to explain all around this place. A few things have been done in stream. Actually, quite a lot of stuff has been done in our most recent stream. Quite a productive one. To be honest, I wasn't even aware of how productive it really was. So let's go up here, and I'll get you caught up on a little bit of stuff. And also, before I forget, before I go any further, last video was pretty crazy with the amount of people who have viewed and just were involved in the video. And that was the one where we were dealing with the back of this ship here, which, by the way, thank you very much for all the cool suggestions. There's a lot of stuff we have to change in there, and I'll show you what I've done and what I'm still going to do. But that's pretty cool that you guys were pretty excited about that spot there. Now, for the rest of this, as I say, I've done a lot of work in here over the last 2 streams. I think it's been 2 streams. And we've cleared out this area here. I'm going to do that. That's all a little bit of stuff. But you can see that there's this whole new area here with this new area over here. Well, that's there, but this has been redone. And also, we've got a little bit of a dock area here, which perhaps if someone does have a cool idea for a crate, the specifications are really like 3 blocks by probably around that many blocks. What's that? That's, that an even number? Yeah, it is. Okay, roughly around there. What is that? I need to know before I say anything. That's 6 blocks. 3 by 6, roughly. And height probably around 3 or 4 is what I'm thinking. Just to have some real big containers that may have been lifted up off of this ship. And I'll show you why. Coming around here, we've got the ship, which is up at the top. And then we've also got the crane, which is right over there. It's kind of fuzzy. Let's get rid of the fuzz. Okay, details, fog. Should be a fog off. There we go. Bad as that sounds. There we go. All right, so that's the crane. It doesn't actually help as much as I thought, but the crane is over here, and it can swivel all the way around to that side. So I feel like that's a pretty cool idea for this ship being unpacked. The items or crates or whatever is there going that way. We can actually, I don't know why I haven't thought about it. We can put some logs on the thing there because logs are already being taken off. Things like that I think will be a really, really cool thing to add into this area. Create a bit more story to this place. And of course, that is all this area is about. Is all about story, all about what's happening in here. Yeah, pretty much just enjoying walking through this place. Feeling like how this place feels to walk through as far as a... If you were playing... I like to think of it as if I was playing an open world game, which I really am, but like an adventure game, kind of like Skyrim or... let's say like Fallout or something like that, where you're walking through and you've got certain areas that are forcing you to go that way to look, just because, not that they're necessarily forcing you, but they persuading you in very sneaky ways with your design of the map or the design of the buildings around it. That's what we're going for. And right now, what I'm actually doing very quickly, I'm just going to sleep. But right now, what we're trying to do with this city is trying to just make the streets very structured so that you're actually walking in spots which if you downloaded this world and went and explored it, which I was intending you to walk through, you know, like you come here, you look at what do I see next? We'll see a building over here, which might attract you above, like you might have a building this height, and then you'll see like something poking out the top, something like that to persuade us. And this over here is the beginning of that something to block our way, which is this little bit of a wall, which I'm busy working on. And we're going to be decorating that today, getting a bit of stuff up here. And I'll talk to you about what I want to get over here, and my vision for the place, at least where we are working right now. And the idea is that we're going to be blocking your view over for certain things, I guess, in this world. And that is important because it forces you to go and try and explore, if you were walking through this world, to try and explore certain areas. If you came in through that side there, or maybe the other side, who knows? We're gonna actually have to work out very, very soon, in fact, where we want the nether portal for this town, or the main nether portal. I feel like we could really, for the size that the city is going to be, we may be able to do a few different nether portals around here. But thinking about where you'd come out if you were exploring this world, just as a viewer or someone just who may download our world somewhere, they'll be able to look around at specific things that I want people to look at. And just, it's a fun little bit of a challenge, I guess, to think about how you want people to go through your world. It's adding on that little bit of an extra thought that I have to have, which actually is very helpful in directing you in terms of where you want to build. Because you look at something, you're like, I can see a tower that I want over there, but how do I get that tower? How do I get someone to look at that tower? You know, that's a little bit of an extra thing. I think it is really, really cool. So here we go. That's what I'm going for over here. On the top of this, my thought was originally I want to have a little bit of a building over the top here, but I realized very quickly that what I've done does not really allow that, because I was hoping to have a building coming across here. But imagine a building coming across there all the way over here. That just won't work because we would have to make it a bit higher. So I think overall, in fact, you know what, it doesn't work quite as bad, but overall the best idea would be maybe a building on this side here on the left. And what we could do is we could go ahead and make another entrance, which I wanted to make in any case, which is going to be for carts to come up to the top here. And this area on the top will be the first main market area from the docks. So a lot of the wares that come from the docks won't have to travel very far. They'll come up here. We'll see stalls. We'll see some actual shops. And in fact, I want to get started with real deal shops before we go into stalls. And the reason for that is the stalls are the things around the city. You know, we're starting off in a very rough manner, getting shapes, and then we build our buildings. The same is going for our city. You know, we've got the big building, we've got more buildings. We fill it in with all these small bits and pieces there. I actually want to do some more stuff. Some wheelbarrows. I've been mentioning wheelbarrows for a while now. And I think wheelbarrows are definitely an awesome thing to add in here. So I'm going to go ahead. I want to start off just by decorating these walls so we have something pretty to look at. And then we can start working out where we want things to be and how we want this place to look. Here's a little bit of a thought. I thought it would be really, really cool. And I'm sure this has probably been done before, but it is probably a really, really interesting thing if we do get this right. Because I'm in the jungle, I'm getting quite a few parrots spawning, ocelots of course as well, but they kind of just come and go. They disappear, they despawn. But the parrots, however, I don't think they do. And in fact, I can just tame them, which is probably the better option. And I was thinking when I come back to saying what people may do themselves or may have already done is retexturing the parrot skin just for the fun of it, of course. Not that we really need to, but it'll be kind of cool. And I'm not a big, you know me, I'm not a big texture changer. I like to keep everything as vanilla as possible. But in here, we can change entities. I feel like entities are the one thing we can really mess around with without messing around with how we build or the blocks we use. And a parrot could be really cool retextured to a dove or a pigeon. And think of all these in the city as you're walking through. We've got like a bunch of pigeons or doves all in one spot, like in cities. It gives a really cool little effect. I think they'll be really interesting to see. And by the way, let's carry on. Speaking of the city, we've got this marketplace over here, and I've done some planning. This is just me testing out heights and stuff because, of course, we've got this beautiful view over here, and I really don't want this to go to waste. However, I did want to have something over here that looks a bit larger, like a building from this side, that you kind of walk in up here and you feel really closed in, kind of a cozy feel, I guess, is the feel I'm going for over here. And I think what we're going to do, the only way we could actually do this, is by working out a really cool window on the side here where we can look out through the shop, which I'm not too sure what shop this is. I've got to figure it out. Maybe if someone gets an idea, go for it. I'd love to hear the thoughts for this shop that we could have overlooking this way. And you can see this whole view over here, because I think this is a pretty perfect shot right here. Look at that. That's like everything we've done in one. Maybe even if we just moved over there, we could get a little bit more of that building in. But everything pretty much ready, everything that we've done already in a thing here like that. I think that'll be really awesome. So we're going to work on that a little bit. But what I want to do right now is show you guys what I've done around here. And I'm just playing around with certain ideas. Blocks that I don't use very often, which are terracotta blocks. And I say that, even though I'm trying my hardest to use them in. There's a few over there, those brown blocks there are terracotta. And we've got a few other blocks around here, but that over there is pretty much the extent of my use, those two spots there. And I've just done a few little things here. I've done the wall a little bit more interesting than what it is. And we're not going to do this on every wall. In fact, that one we're probably going to leave fairly plain. Do a few little things, for instance, on it, but not going to go too crazy with it. And for instance, here, we just keep this one nice and simple because that's actually going to become a building. So we're not going to mess around with it just yet. And then there's these spots here like these, which have got a few little bits and pieces. In fact, I probably want to just do something like that to close that off. And we've just done that there with a different railing as well, which is kind of cool because you see these things which just become very monotonous, the same railing or the same one there. And I think just switching it up a little bit, when we can get away with it, we do it. And I think that's a good idea to do that. That's what I've pretty much done between the last clip and now. However, as I say, we're going to be working on this area and I want to just tell you my thoughts on it. So we're going to have paths and I like to keep the paths a different height to the original path. So down here you can see we've got that half block over there. That's a half slab. That's a full block level. And that separates the street from the pavement. Now over here, because this is more of a walkable area, that's what I'm thinking. between shops and stuff, we're going to have to plan out where we want some shops or where we want stores, and where we want the pavement maybe is more important. So what I was thinking to do is use some path blocks, and I'm not 100% sure whether or not this will work, but it's always worth a try. And to be completely honest, I feel pretty good about it. I think it will do a fairly decent job at what we wanted to do. So I'll show you here. Just get rid of these little few places here. And when we do a path block, we may also have a little bit of an issue at night. And of course, that's not really a big deal with us right now because we don't in fact have a mob switch or anything. We're not going to be playing around at night. So it's not going to be a big deal for us now, but in the future, it may very well work its way into being a bit of a problem because of the lighting under here. So we might just have to make some stuff underneath here to make it full. There we go. Make it full so that it doesn't go too light with light shining through the path block. Okay, that will work combination color-wise, but how wide do we go? I think maybe up to here would be good. I think what I might have to do is just sort out these here. But look at this, right? This is one little thing I'm not a big fan of. This over here is very light, and path blocks are amazing blocks. They really, really are, with the darkness and lightness that you can get from the block by interacting with full blocks next to it or half blocks next to it, or really no blocks next to it. Over here, what I want to do, just to make those blocks, these edges here, which were a bit lighter, a bit darker, we do this over here. So make those blocks full. Just didn't even have to do that last one. And now what should happen is we should see that looks a lot more, there we go, we can hit that. That one there looks a lot more darker. There we go, on the edges, which is perfect. I want this to really blend in, look like stuff's kind of shoved to the corners like that, like stuck in the corner there, which I think actually looks pretty cool. So picture this, we're walking around here, we'll have this path over here. I'll work out, I want this area to be a little bit more open because I want to have a little bit of a walkway here where we'll have some stores. For instance, those little stores we were talking about to fill up. And then we'll have probably 2 or 3 shops along here, but that's all a matter of time to work out what we're going to be filling in this area with and all that. And by the way, speaking of filling up this area, let me just show you. I dug up to here thinking we would have quite a bit of time, but now we've very quickly approached this side of my dig way long ago. Let's go there. Look at that. Way long ago I dug that up. It feels like it really actually isn't too long. It's probably been a month or two. But we've very quickly approached that. And I think what we're going to have to do is move over to the left of the screen there. That could be the next spot. Or alternatively, I may have to start digging again, which is out that way. And we're not going to keep everything on the same level. As you can see, we're manufacturing different heights in this. So that's a very important point, which I actually forgot to point out, is we're trying to make this different heights. We don't want to keep everything on the same level. For anyone who's wondering, everything's going to kind of step itself up now. We're going to work its way up a little, until we get to the middle of there. And we're going to have a pretty awesome looking palace, I'm thinking. I'm thinking that'll be really cool. That'll actually be a ridiculously massive build. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, work out these paths, maybe just work out the path going this way, get the pavements looking good. We're back on the ship, and I thought I would quickly go around here to show you guys what I was talking about with the few changes that are being made and going to be made. Very small changes, might I add. I've put in the compass and the clock. So this guy could be sitting at his desk. I have not put the chair in. I knew there was something else forgetting. The chair, think of it. Sitting at his desk, can see the time. Can't see where he's going, but that's all right. We got the steering wheel up the top. He'll be fine. But the parrot over here is the thing that I got a lot of suggestions for, and I was going to say liquor cabinet over here was another thing I got a lot of suggestions for, and they were good suggestions. All of them, actually, were very good suggestions. First one here is, actually, I'm just going to see, can I do this and these not pop off? I hope. We'll leave that there for a little bit, but it was these acacia doors. And honestly, has anyone had a probably good use for these things until now? I think this is a great use for them. In fact, I like to use these things that I feel aren't really appreciated, and to be honest, the color is exactly the problem with that. But we'll keep it over there. I think that works over there. The other thing was actually an idea of mine, which was using this perhaps as a perch for the bird, which could actually work. The suggestion that I got, though, was to use one of these, which is also a great idea. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a try first. The brewing stand. We'll chop that out. Oh, bird, don't... Wait, what? Why'd you leave me? Okay, we'll put the bird over here. Just on that there, and get rid of that. My pickaxe is so ridiculously close to dying. Now, I think it'll bounce on my shoulder. Hopefully it doesn't. If I just shift, there we go. Well, I think that's going to work. If not, I think the best suggestion, which I think will definitely work, will be the iron Yeah, the iron bars, but that'll work perfectly. It actually looks like it's kind of on the side over there, which is fantastic. There might be smoke coming out from it. Let's not question that. Those were the two big things that I thought would make the world of a difference here, which was from the comment section, might I add. And again, thank you guys for the crazy support and crazy suggestions. Crazy good, that is, from the last episode. Now, going around this way, I've got the changes I've made, which I don't think you can see anything around here, but the big thing is I've added in those paths, and you might think it's a little bit boring and plain and ugly right now, which, to be completely honest, you'd be correct in saying. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be getting this area looking a little bit more spruced up. And excuse the pun, but we're going to do a few more things in here. Maybe get some extra block in here to just texture it a little bit better than what it is right now. And also texturing in here a little bit better than what it is right now. And I don't have anything on me, but perhaps a bit of spruce would look good in here. Or alternatively, some oak actually might not look bad, and I do have that ability. So let's give that a go very, very quickly. We'll put that in there, break one of those, put that in there. Yeah, maybe that's not too bad. However, that also won't, oh, well, I don't know what happens to my mouse. Sometimes when I'm recording, my mouse goes just so crazy. Yeah, that also won't work, but maybe something along the lines of a bit of gravel or a bit of stone in the road might just work. We'll mess around with those ideas, come up with something a little bit better, but I've gone all the way to here, and I've also tried to mess around with how I'm going to make this pavement an interesting pavement, just looking at the small things, making them a little bit more interesting in this world. And first of all, we've got the street being the walkable street. Then we've got the next layer over here, which is the wooden pavement, which I kind of think of as like just an in-between to the real pavement. And then we've got this over here, which is the real pavement. And to top it off, we've got a fourth kind of thing, which is going to be where you walk to go underneath the little shops that come over this way. And what I'm talking about with this way, it's kind of hard to explain because I don't make sense to myself, to be completely honest. But imagine over here, we've got this little piece over here, and we can walk underneath it and then get to the entrance of the shop, where the shop will be hanging over the top on the top here. And I can't explain this very, very well, but you're going to have to just take my word for it. It's going to be pretty awesome. Picture the shop hanging over there. We can have a row of shops along this side, a row of shops along this side, but I do want this area to have a little bit of an open area for some stores to specifically be there. I don't want to be adding in stores in here just for the sake of having them. I want to add them in thoughtfully and for a reason. I think that's the best way to do it. Let's put that in there just to start this off, although we'll be changing that around. But that's a little bit of this update. And also, let me go up here to show you what I'm thinking of from the top, because that's pretty important to have a vantage point where we look out from consistently to see it. There we go. Right around there. That's the look we're going for. I'm gonna of course shape this out a little bit better than what it is right now, but you can see the road going around there. We'll do whatever we do with it over there. But from here, I think this is a good shape, a good curve, and picture the shop over here, picture the next shop over there, and these around here. It's going to be very, very good. In fact, this has got a lot of spots for us to be very, very creative, and also a lot of space just in general for us to be very, very creative. And I think that is what is exciting me about this area the most, is all those little things, the step ups, the extra space, the change in elevation from here is going to be amazing. It's going to really break the city up very, very well. There is also something I have not shown you guys, which we worked on in another stream as well. Everything happens in streams. If you guys don't want to, well, not everything. We've obviously got everything that I like to separate between YouTube and streams. However, if you guys do want to join us in streams, there is a link in the description below here just to join us. I keep forgetting to remind you, but if you guys don't know that we do have a Twitch page, because a lot of people on Twitch say, wait, you have a YouTube channel? And a lot of people on YouTube say, wait, you have a Twitch channel? I guess that's the same thing. So if you guys do want to join us for live streams on Twitch, there is a link down in the description right now. Click that. You can click around and follow us. In fact, the day that this video comes out, a few hours later, we're going to be streaming. So I'd love to see you guys around there if you do want to join us. It's very simple. Just click that link there. And there we go. We've got an indoor library over here. Well, I don't know what an outdoor library would look like, but an indoor one nonetheless. And I think this is looking pretty cool. In fact, when I first did this, I was not very happy with it. But now that I've walked away and come back, I'm actually pretty happy. I've done a few little changes to it though. But I think all it's lacking right now is a little rug in the middle. And that's going to look pretty good. And this is actually the reason I'm showing you this, is because a lot of people wonder whether or not we do interiors to our buildings. And I think recently I've been getting that question a little bit more, probably because of these ones over here, and I can completely understand it because we haven't yet touched them. These ones are completely hollow, and in fact, I'm not a fan of not completing the backs of buildings either. I know some people like to do it just to get the fronts of the buildings looking good, and I can understand that, but I like to have the story pulling through the whole way through. So we've got people living in the city, we've got people working in the city, and we can't leave them without a place to sleep or to work, and that makes sense. You know, we want this whole thing to be, as you're walking through and exploring and looking at stuff, you know that this is all been thought out from start to finish. And that's back to the whole story of walking through the world as an open world, as if you're playing an open world game, which you really are, but completely designed from start to finish on where you look, how you do it. That's pretty much the thought we have here. And finishing off on the little details, for instance, libraries, bedrooms, stuff like that. And of course, this area here is very quickly becoming a fun area for me to be walking through, just standing around. In fact, I don't even know if I need that there. Just standing around here just looks really, really cool. And not to mention, once we have this mob switch in, the magical thing that will one day happen, might I add, we'll be able to play around with these light levels and have this actually look nice and dull and gloomy, just like what we've got over here. But that will be the note that we will end this episode. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you've got some really cool ideas for this area, because this is very, very exciting for me, at least, to have a brand new area to go and explore and build and do crazy things with. But thank you very, very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.